So let's just close that. So I've got you can see I've got the label, I've got the medicine. The next thing in the dispensing procedure is you do the barcode scanning, which will make sure that you have picked up the right product which you entered in the system and for which you generated the label for, and that will also deduct from your inventory in the pharmacy. So for the barcode scanning, just click on the basket here or the container. You will see the label is here, or the information which you entered in the system. You have got barcode scanner here, and you have got some cautionary labels, and then this is the actual label you printed, and this is the product you have picked up from the shelf. So for the barcode scanning, select the product first and then click on the barcode scanner. You don't have to drag it, just click on it, and when you click on it you will see a little icon will appear with the mouse, and you can bring it here and just click on the medicine box which you have picked up from the shelf. When you do that, and if it's the right product you have picked up from the shelf, it will give you a green signal, and you can go ahead with that. So I've picked up the right product, click OK. Now the next thing is that I will stick the label on the medicine box. So if you click on the label, again you don't have to drag it, just click on it and the little icon will appear with the mouse, and you bring it here and stick it on the box, and by this you have stuck the label on the medicine box. In the same way, if you want to put any cautionary labels on the medicine box for the patient, you can do that in the same way. So let's say for the sake of this exercise I want to do this one just as an example to show you, and you bring it here, click on the box, and it will come up here. That means, and when it appears like this means you have stuck the label on the box and you have stuck the cautionary label on the box which was required. So when everything is done, you've done the barcode scanning, you can minimize this screen and you will be back in front of the patient. So let's just get back to the patient and patient questions. If you want to ask the patient, if the patient has got any question, you can ask that here. Otherwise you can jump on to the counseling. And so for this medicine, what I'm giving to the patient, I want to counsel the patient that take 1 tablet once daily for your blood pressure. So that's the counseling I want to give to the patient. Once I'm this is very important. Again, you give the right counsel, you write here the right counseling point, because when the prescriptions will be summative, you will be given marks for these counseling points. And again, as I said before, that we are working on the Arabic font, so later on any interaction with the patient, whether it's the initial information gathering or the counseling or answering patients' questions, you will be able to write that in Arabic, because that would be more closely related to the real life scenario. So this is the counseling I want to give to the patient, and then hit counsel. And you can see the initial conversation was my wording was with a green background, and now it's with a blue background. That shows that this is different from the initial information gathering, and this is the counseling. So I've counseled the patient, and now I can hand over to the patient. So I'm trying to hand over now to the medicine to the patient, which I have prepared. Click on finish, and you can see the little window will pop up which says that, excuse me, I have some questions. So that means the patient has got some question. So this is how I have set up the scenario, that when you were going to dispense it, the patient will ask the question. So if you want to answer if you don't want to answer the patient's question, you want to refuse it, you can click on no. But if you want to answer the patient's question, you can click on yes, and then you ask. So the patient will say, patient is saying, do I have to avoid certain types of food to control my blood pressure? If you know that there are certain foods which the patient should avoid, or any dietary restrictions because of the condition of the patient or the medicine the patient is going to take, you can write them here. So I will just write here, limit the salt intake, and that's it. I reply it, and I can ask again if I want. If the patient has got any more questions, the patient says no thank you. Now everything is done. I have got the medicine ready, I've got counseled the patient, I have answered patient's questions. Now it's time to hand over the final handover of the medicine to the patient. So I click on handover here, and then finish my exercise. So now you can see that this will bring me back to this screen, and here this icon here was blue in color, and now it has turned into green, which means that I have completed my prescription exercise and I have submitted my answers. Now sometimes this icon might appear in orange color, and that means that you were in the middle of doing your exercise and you closed it, or something happens and you have not submitted your answers yet. That's what the orange color would mean. But green color means, as I said before, that you have completed it and you have submitted your answers. Now the most important thing when you have submitted the prescription exercise and it has turned into green is to have the feedback to know you have done the right things or not. So if you click on this green icon, it will bring up the feedback interface, and you will see this is the feedback which I've already written in the system before for you, and you will see that this feedback is divided into different sections: the outcome, the medication, the notes, the fact finding, and the patient questions. So let's go through each section of the feedback one by one. Outcome, which says you choose to dispense the prescript and you were correct. So that means you were supposed to dispense this medication because everything was fine and you were correct. And this is a little feedback for you that well done, you should confirm the frequency of this medicine with the prescriber, and this is exactly what you have done. The next thing on the feedback is frequency query, which was required from the prescriber, which you actually did, and you can see that's in the green, which means you actually done it. Now, if you had missed this important point, this would be in red color, which means this is something which you missed, and in the summative prescriptions you will not get marked for this. The next thing is you can see the prescription. This is your endorsement. You can see your endorsement. This is what you did, and this is what you should have done. This is the feedback. So you can see this is how it should be ideally written or annotated on the prescription: 1 tablet once daily, checked with the doctor Saturday 15th June 2019, 11 a.m. and then my initials, like my signature, and this is what you did. So you can see you had the wrong date on here, and 2019 is missing, and you should have also written your initials or sign it as a pharmacist. So this is the first part of the feedback. The next one is medication. You can see this is your label and this is the correct label. This is the feedback on the label, and you can see all the things should match. If you scroll down further, you will see the things which are in green here, which means these are the things which were required and you actually did. And while entering the medicine details in the computer system, and something in red is something which you entered incorrectly. So you can see it's here as 60, but you decided to dispense 30, which is fine and acceptable because there is a reason for that. So don't worry about that one. The third section in the feedback is patient notes. You actually wrote in the patient notes, talk to the doctor, which is fine. Counseling notes, these are your notes and these are the feedback. So you can see your counseling to the patient was take 1 tablet once daily for your blood pressure, but the ideal counseling points should include all these things which you can read. The next thing in the feedback is patient fact finding. That means the initial information gathering with the patient. This is what you have done and this is what you should have done, because this is a feedback. And then if you scroll down further is the prescriber fact finding, which means the interaction with the prescriber. So this is what you have done and this is the feedback which you should have done. So so you can match what you have done and what you should have done in the feedback for your information. The last thing of the feedback is the patient questions. So the patient asked about this question and this was your answer, and this should be the ideal answer in the feedback. You can see it's on limit the salt intake, and you need to limit or decrease the amount of salt in your diet, which is the same thing almost. So this is how you look at the feedback for your improvement. What you can do here after looking at all the feedback points, you can either close it, so it will bring you back to the screen if you're happy with this. But if you have done something terribly wrong in the prescription and you want to do it again for your practice, you can reset the exercise here. Now if you click on reset exercise here, you will see that this icon is going to turn into blue again, which means that you can do this exercise again for your practice. You may want to reset the exercise from here and do it again for your practice, or if you have done something completely wrong and you want to correct it, so you just reset the exercise from here, and you can see this has turned into blue, so you're ready to do the exercise again. Now everything you do on the system, how many times you do it, where you click, what you select, everything is recorded in this system, and I can check later on what you have done. And as I said before, that when you will have summative prescriptions, there will be set marks for certain things which you do in the system, so you have to practice really well with MyDispense in these 2 weeks. Thank you very much for taking time to know MyDispense and watching this video. If you've got any further questions, feel free to shoot me a message or an email. I hope you have a really great rest of summer training, and we'll bring more for you on MyDispense later. Thanks again for watching.